So what I decided to do was email all of the authors of the books. It was like 10 authors I emailed. And wouldn't you know, one of the authors,
Phil Phails at Philosophy,
responded to my email. And basically the email said, hey, we got this show on philosophy book club, where I, the host, talked to a professor of philosophy about concepts and ideas. And I'm looking for an author that would participate, that would join us in a discussion about the book and send out some books so we could both have hard copies of the book from the author. And yeah, Christian B. Miller responded. He said, heck yeah, I'll send you out some books, and I'd love to participate in a conversation about the book, The Character Gap. The byline is, how good are we? The Character Gap. He's a professor at Wake Forest. He studies character. He had the Character Project for a long time, and now he has the Honesty Project. He's a man who's been studying character, virtue, behavior for a long time. Yeah. And I was really excited to get a response from an author. I thought it was a long shot. I didn't think anybody would respond, but Christian B. Miller responded, and so we chose his book. And now we're in the process of figuring out how to incorporate him. And what we're gonna do is Grant and I are going to talk about the book in stages, stage 1, 2, and 3, because that's kind of how the book's broken up. And then we'll consider inviting Christian B. Miller into the discussion with us. We're not sure how that's going to work, whether it can be live or virtual, because Wake Forest is in Winston-Salem, Massachusetts, y'all. That's a far piece from Texas. But also, this character project, there's a huge initiative Wake Forest has, and Austin Community College got a grant, I don't remember how much money it was. It was around $1 million grant to teach and nurture and kind of move the needle on character, on virtue for both the faculty and the student body, or the staff too, everybody. How do we influence in a positive direction everybody that's in that academic environment? So a part of this discussion may be inviting the folks that are leading up that project, that are organizing and developing the kind of boots on the ground strategies to impact change with regard to character and virtue at ACC, Austin Community College. But let's get into it. I'm going to talk through my ideas from the character gap. How good are we? The first phase, or the first part, which is, what is character and why is it important? That's what we're going to do. So, he starts the book with a story. And the story he tells is the story of Walter Vance. And it's Black Friday. It's 2012. Black Friday is the day after Christmas, I think, or the day after Thanksgiving. I don't know. When is Black Friday? I don't go out on Black Friday, so I don't have it committed to memory. I tend to not like those environments. Let me see when it is real quick. Everybody's going to be like, oh my God, you don't know where Black Friday is? You should know this. It's November the 27th, so it's the day after Thanksgiving. It's the Friday after Thanksgiving in the United States. So if you're not in the United States, you might not know about Black Friday. It traditionally marks the start of the Christmas shopping season and is the busiest shopping day of the year in the United States. That's Black Friday. So he goes into this store and he collapses in an aisle. And many people walked over him, around him. They didn't do anything to help this guy. And he passed away. Little disclaimer. That could be traumatic, but yeah, Walter Vance, 2012, Black Friday. He collapsed in an aisle at the store, and for a long time, no one did anything to help him. Everybody was focused on getting those deals, and no one wanted to change what they were doing and support their fellow human being, this Mr. Vance. And it's a question about what would you do? If you were in a store and you came upon a man, he was on the ground in distress, what would you do? Would you stop what you were doing and help him? Would you call 911? Would you be like that first responder? I imagine a lot of folks are saying they would, and this book is going to look at the gap between how we think our character is, what we think about ourselves, and what the science shows, what the experiments and the research show we actually do, how we actually behave versus how we think we behave. A lot of you guys are probably saying, I would stop what I was doing and I would help this guy. And I think this science that is exposed in this book and revealed in this book will maybe change your mind on that. The purpose of this book is to incorporate hundreds of studies in psychology to reveal how we actually behave. What is our kind of default mode network? What is our default response to things? We're going to use a bunch of studies in psychology. It says, I got my notes here. I read this and I took detailed notes. He says, we have serious character flaws that prevent us from being good people. And we don't realize that these flaws exist. It's not all bad, though. He says we're not virtuous, but we're also not wretched either. Like we're kind of somewhere in the middle, which is cool. Most of us are not morally wretched. We're not good and we're not really bad. You know? Which I guess is good. Sometimes I think about diet and nutrition, not about what you do eat, but what you don't eat. That you could be really healthy if you subtract certain things. And maybe you could be a really good human being if you just don't do certain things, you know, like the big guys, like murder and steal and take advantage of people, like the really bad stuff. Doesn't mean we got to be Mother Teresa on the other end, or these people that are examples of virtue. I mean, we should strive that direction, but you know, being in the middle is good enough. I think, it might have been John Gottman in his book, The Science of Trust, that talked about that. In couples, there's like really great times and there's really bad times, and then there's neutral. And as long as you're neutral or better, you got a higher probability of success with your partner. It's just not having those bad times, like lessening the really bad times, because all the really good times are awesome. The neutral times are neutral. They're not good, they're not bad, and that's probably most of life. But you really want to cut off those really big arguments, those really bad fights where people say things they don't mean and respond from a place of emotion and fear and anger. You curtail that behavior and you got a higher probability of success, of happiness, of, you know, having a good relationship. And this is kind of like your relationship with society. We're talking about virtue and vice. Imagine in the middle of that is, or on the virtue side, in the neutral side, you're talking about someone who is a productive, healthy, positive, supportive member of our society. This is all about groups of people coming together to live and work that out. How do we live together? How do we human in groups, which is what we do. Humans found their way here through social tools, social technology. I read this book called The Social Leap by, William von Hippel, I think was his name. And it talks all about how we are where we are because of groupings, of us grouping together and working together and being social. We are social beings. So virtue is a way of presenting a roadmap to like, how do we best be in group? How do we best behave? How do we best express to have a healthy, kind of vibrant social group? Which seems to be really topical now because, I don't know, sometimes I get the feeling that we're really divided. I think that might be just social media, but maybe not. We're just two people will see the exact same bit of information and have vastly different takeaways, vastly different. They'll see different things. They'll say different things about what both people observed. Maybe a good example of that is all the stuff that's going on in Minnesota and how two different groups of people see the exact same thing and their version of it is so different. I feel disheartened about that. I wish we could see the same thing and have a foundation of shared experiences, shared awareness, shared understanding that then we kind of move from. I don't know if virtue will help us in that regard, but that's what this book is about, the character gap. So it starts out by trying to define character. What is character? Well, there's a lot of character traits like curiosity or cleverness or open-mindedness. There's also these like moral character traits like honesty, cruelty, kindness, callousness. And in this book, we're really talking about the moral character traits. Those are like dependability, trustworthiness, loyalty, kindness. Those are the real ones we want to do. Moral character traits, not like his eye color is brown or her height is 5'11", or those are different character traits. We're really looking at moral stuff, the moral character traits. And when you look at moral character traits, there's a couple places we could look. We could look at Aristotle. He listed stuff like courage, temperance, liberality, magnificence, and justice. You could look at Paul. They just said Paul like everybody knows who Paul is in the book. I'm guessing Paul's a religious figure, but I'm not really sure who Paul is. They just said Paul. Maybe it's someone's Paul. I don't know. But Paul listed joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Temperance is kind of self-control. Cardinal virtues, the cardinal virtues. I'm guessing cardinal is like religious. What does cardinal mean, y'all? Oh my goodness. It's hard without Grant here. Cardinal virtues. Let's see what the heck that means. The cardinal virtues are prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. Are four fundamental hinge virtues on which all other moral virtues depend, rooted in classical philosophy and adopted by Christian theology. They represent the perfection of human reason, will, and appetite. These virtues are considered natural, meaning they can be cultivated by anyone, but are crucial for leading a moral life. But what is cardinal? I think of the cardinal directions like north, east, southwest. Anyway, I'm not going to get stuck on that. This is where I would ask Grant, and he would help me talk through what it is. But he's not here. And then they talk about Dante's Inferno. Dante talking about the virtues of humility, kindness, patience, diligence, charity, temperance, and chastity. Those are the virtues. Vices, they kind of pair virtues with vice, like on one, like a binary. On one side you got the virtue, on the other side you got the vice. So pride would have the other pole of humility, and envy, kindness, wrath is the vice, patience would be the virtue, sloth would be the vice, and diligence would be the virtue. Avarice would be the vice, and charity would be the virtue. Avarice is the desire for wealth or greed. Gluttony or temperance. Temperance is moderation, self-restraint. Lust and chastity. They kind of have them where there's a virtue on one side and there's a vice on the other side. So we got these virtues and we got the vices. Virtue seems like good stuff. Vices seems like bad stuff. Like, you do a bunch of vices, you're probably going to go to jail. You do a bunch of virtues, I don't know, you might get the accolades of your peers. You might find yourself working in a food bank. I'm not exactly sure what you do to walk that strict, virtuous path. But this book says a lot of good stuff will happen. Just a byproduct of it. So your character is your own unique collection of characteristics or traits that are centrally important to who you are and how you act. We're going to look at the moral ones. So how do you define virtue? What is virtue? At least for the purposes of this book. Virtue is an action. These are my notes. Virtue is an action. It's a way that is appropriate to the circumstances. An action that is appropriate to the circumstances. It's an action that is okay in a wide variety of situations. Oh, to be virtuous. I see what's going on here. It's to act in a way that is appropriate to circumstances, to be virtuous. To do that consistently. It's not just do it once, but like there's a consistency. It's like it's a part of your character. You do it over and over again. So you might get the same test of virtue in a bunch of different forms, and you knock it out of the park each time. It's not like a one-off. And it involves the right motivation. I wrote altruistic motivation, not egoistic. So why you do it really matters. Yep. So it's the act that there's consistency and continuity. It's about the motivation. Yep. Good action performed in a variety of different situations with the appropriate reason or motive. And it's reliable and stable. Like you can rely on that person to do that every time. So what is motivation, right? I guess you'd think about that like you're not doing the good act so that for your own good, for your own benefit. You're not like helping people so that you could be seen as some sort of way, right? Like, oh, I'm just helping people for the virtue signaling or so that I can get this job, or so that, sometimes I think my kiddo wants to do volunteer work just so it looks good on her college resume because she wants to get into a good college. And I wonder if the getting into a good college is the motivation for doing the good work instead of just doing the good work for the good work's sake. It reminds me of that mindfulness question that Thich Nhat Hanh asked. At least that's where I was exposed to it. Do you do the dishes to do the dishes, or you do the dishes to have clean dishes? It might not track exactly, but I think of doing the dishes to have clean dishes is like this, you're motivated in this other way, which we all need clean dishes. But doing the dishes to do the dishes, you're in the moment. You're doing the dishes. That's why you're doing them. The important part is being present in the moment, being active and engaged in what you're doing, and that being the only reason. There's not this ulterior motive. So motivation really matters. I kind of think about when Grant and I talked about how to live a happy human life. It was one of our questions. It might have been the first question of the big questions of philosophy. And there was like 3 different ways you could look at it. There was the virtue theory, which was like, I think it was you create a person that has good character, that's virtuous, and then they act on the world. And the next one was the act separate from any other act. You just looked at one individual act. Is this act good? The first one's like the virtue theory is like, is this person good? And then the second one was, is this act good? And then the third one was like, was it utilitarianism? Is like, what was the outcome of the act? Was the outcome of the act good? And that's where I get like, I don't know. This one's talking clearly in the virtue theory. Like it wants us to create a person that is good, a person that acts a certain way consistently. The other two was like what deontological, and you guys are watching me try to figure out this and remember. So some of this might be wrong. That's okay. You can put in the comments or you can email me. So yeah, the book's goal is to challenge the wisdom of using the virtues and vice to describe other people, because most people don't have virtue or vice. When you look at this definition of the right act, the virtuous act, a virtuous expression, behavior in a bunch of different contexts with the right motivation, and that being consistent, stable, you can count on that. That's the first chapter. We want to know what is character, what is a vice, what is a virtue, why is it important? The second chapter and the last chapter of this first part is why bother developing a good character? Why bother developing a good character? And he starts this with 3 or 4 stories. He just tells some stories. He tells a story of a man named Leopold Socha in 1943 in Nazi controlled Poland. And this group of Jews that were hiding and fleeing kind of devastation, fleeing the horrible things that were being done by the Nazis to Jewish folks. They were fled into the sewer, and this guy helped them day in and day out. He took food to them, and it was a tremendous effort to do it. You'll have to read the book to find out more about Leopold Socha, but he supported Jews living in the sewers for over a year, protecting them and bringing them food and all the stuff you need when you live in the sewer. I mean, imagine it, guys, living in the sewer for a year. This is a tremendous story about human will and desire to live and overcome. And yeah. The second story was about Honest Abe Lincoln. Y'all know about Abe Lincoln. He's our president. Was he our 5th president? I'm not sure about that. I think he's on the $5 bill or the nickel or something. Who looks at paper money anymore? I'm not even going to look it up. We know he was one of our presidents, Abraham Lincoln. I'm realizing if I said less, you guys would not know how little I know or how little I'm solid on subjects. So maybe I should just say less. There's that saying, it's better to be silent and thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. Well, whatevs. I'm like Popeye the Sailor Man. I am who I am. I know things, I don't know things. Memory's not my strong suit. ADHD. So he told a bunch of stories about Honest Abe Lincoln, how he would just how he would give the wrong change to someone at the store he worked at when he was growing up, and he would run him down. He would like have to walk miles and miles to give him the correct change. It seems like it's that story of someone who finds a wallet and takes it back. He just did that in a bunch of different circumstances. He was very honest. Sometimes to his detriment, he was honest. He was a lawyer, and one of his witnesses lied on the stand in a way that helped his client. And he said, "Hey, strike all that. This person lied. I don't want to win that way. I want to win in an honest way. I don't want to win having a witness lying on the stand." He also talked about this doctor in Haiti who started a nonprofit that helped people. Ended up helping people all over the world, but this doctor would forsake everything else, and he would walk miles and miles and miles to help people in Haiti. And he just dedicated his whole life to helping people. I think his name was Farmer. I didn't write his name down. But these are stories of virtuous people. And then he talks about their stories are told to elevate us and to foster a desire to be like the person in the story. And they did elevate me. I thought, man, would I do that? Would I like army crawl through sewers to help a group of people that were scared and cold and hungry and just wanted to survive? Would I do that day in and day out? Would I make that my life's toil? I would like to think I would. I'd like to think I'd choose to help my fellow man and protect them. Even if he got caught, it was certain death. If he got caught helping the Jews, the Nazis would kill him, almost guaranteed. So it was at tremendous detriment. Am I honest, Abe Lincoln? I like to think I'm honest. If I found a wallet on the street, I'd like to think I would find who owns the wallet and return it to them. If someone gave me the wrong amount of change and I realized it later on, I would want to tidy that up. I'd want them to have the proper amount. I generally want to have agreements and negotiations that are win-win. Win. It's good for me, it's good for the other person, and it's good for the relationship. Like no one leaves thinking I got bested or I got that other guy. I really took advantage of that. I don't think that's how you make good agreements and negotiations. You really want everybody to be happy when they leave. I learned that in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The art of effective negotiation. Seek the win-win. That's really important. And honesty is a part of that. Honesty, transparency, authenticity. Speak your truth. Figure out with all shared awareness, all the shared understanding, let's come up with an agreement, a way forward that works really well for everybody. And then compassion in Haiti. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know about that, but I think this show's kind of a way to improve myself and to to let people see that improvement over time. I think I'll get better physically. I should get better intellectually. I should get better spiritually, mind, body, and spirit. I mean, yeah, I'm not going out into the countryside seeking folks to help medically. It's just not my background. I don't know how to do that. And I'm a little scared of blood. I fainted a couple times. That's another story. Then, and kind of the last part of part one, the last section, why virtuous? Question mark. Why be virtuous? And then he lists kind of 4 reasons to be virtuous. Number 1, virtuous lives are admirable and inspiring. As we see from the stories, you read those stories and you're like, dang, that's inspiring. That's really cool. I want to be like that. I want to have that kind of impact in the world. I want to be, I don't know, I want to be a good person. The stories do foster and nurture that in me at least. So that's 1. We want to be virtuous because virtuous lives are admirable and inspiring. Number 2, good character typically makes the world a better place. I think that's true because it spins off. Like when you're modeling, nothing happens in a vacuum. So if you act virtuous, you're modeling virtuous action for those around you, and you're kind of setting the tone. You're setting a way of being in motion. You're like broadcasting it out. People can see it. People can feel it. People can even see the impact of it. I think virtuous acts and good character will make the world a better place. When you think about that list of them, you had humility, kindness, patience, diligence, charity, temperance, chastity. I don't know about chastity, but certainly a lot of these really great. Why did I say I don't know about chastity? I think I don't know about chastity because I think that was around like controlling people's sexual expression. I don't know if that's what chastity means, but I don't want to get into the whole Christian. I think taboos around sexuality create a darkness where a lot of bad things can happen because people feel shame about communicating what's going on for them in their real experience. That if there was more open, more in the light, more discussion and comfort around discussing sexuality, some of those behaviors might not be able to thrive anymore because folks would feel comfortable talking about their experience sexually and not feel so much shame. That's why I said that about chastity. But courage, temperance, justice, wisdom, faithfulness, kindness, patience, peace, self-control, all these seem great. And I think that the more we embody and act on those moral character traits, the more virtuous we are, I think the world will be a better place. I agree with him there. Number 3 is the one where I put a big question mark on it, and it says, God wants us to become good people. Oh man, I don't know if that's true. God wants us to become a better. I think I could change that sentence and say, religions want us to become good people. I mean, in this one, he kind of said, God created us in a way, God created us to be virtuous. And it kind of sets it up as like, God messed up on creating us, or when we got down here, we got in the mix and was unable to realize God's plan or God's kind of his blueprint for the human. I think we're made the way we're made. I probably think of it more from an evolutionary perspective. We're just here, we're made this way, and it is what it is. You need light, you need darkness, you need good, you need bad, you need all of these things. It's part of the human struggle. I don't know that we could have a world that's totally devoid of darkness. Could we have a world where it's just light? That being said, it's probably a benefit to moving what darkness and light is over. We don't have to go into the depths of the darkness. And I don't, maybe we can go to the depths of the lightness, but I don't know about God. Well, who's God? What is God? Whenever you make a statement like God wants us to become good people, I don't know. My kind of my detector for BS starts to go off. And I don't know, maybe I should look at that. But religions seem to want us to be good people. The folks in life that figured something out and shared that something, I believe, wanted us to have a roadmap to being a good person, to freeing yourself from the suffering, whether it's Buddhist, or the Buddha, or Jesus, or Muhammad, any of these guys, any of these prophets, any of these people that seem to have it figured out and wanting to share that, those guys wanted us all to become good people, I think, and wanted to influence the world in that way. So I don't know. The word God, I get stuck on that, but if I think of God as universal consciousness or universal oneness, I don't know that it wants anything. It just is. You just accept the world as it is. You accept. I'm not sure how this jives with Buddhism, but that was his third reason. God wants us to become good people. And then the fourth one was a good character can be rewarding, a source of joy and contentment, shielding ourselves from hardship, whether that's emotional or otherwise, and you don't have to struggle with temptation. I don't know if that's true. I think you probably always struggle with temptation. Just because you're virtuous doesn't mean there's not long division going on. It doesn't mean you're not battling with that other part of your psyche or your behavior, the part that wants, the part that, there's greed inside of you. There's all these things inside of you. There's that saying, if it's human, it's not alien to me. So I think we all are touched and have an awareness of all the virtues and all the vices. And there's a decision. There's a present moment option for going one direction or the other. One thing I looked up while I was reading all this was altruism. I'm going to pull it up. I did a little research on altruism because I thought, can you ever really do something in an altruistic manner? Or is there always going to be some sort of benefit that you're getting? Whether it's just a dopamine hit in your body, something that's some positive benefit to your behavior that's not as clear. Like it's not always, oh, I get money when I do this thing. It could be I get social status and I want that social status. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole with altruism, but that's some of the things I was thinking about. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So this is just a short discussion about the book, at least part one of the book, The Character Gap by Christian B. Miller. Grant Potts and I are going to discuss this book in parts, in 3 parts. And I'm really looking forward to that. I really value those discussions. I value them. Part 1 is what is character and why is it important? Part 2 is what does our character actually look like today? And part 3 is what can we do to improve our character? The idea is that we'll talk about these parts and then we'll have Christian B. Miller on the show to talk about the book with us, to have a discussion about character. and the book.